Teach me.
This movie mythologizes magic. In some ways, it made fighting these magical creatures into a science.
Silverbane repels witches.
Our good characters can fight off these creatures, but not because they have magical powers.
Silverbane!
We wanted them to have tools that they can use to help in their quest, but really they've got to use their brain and their bronze and fight all these creatures with the power within themselves.
Tusk, run!
Jeff Bridges just came with this wonderful, wild character that you would not necessarily find in the script.
Ogre scrotum. For your own enjoyment, follow.
You couldn't ask for a better acting partner ever than Jeff Bridges. He's just endlessly creative.
And now he turns into a dragon, and I'll give you a bit of that, like that. Does that work for you? One of the most important steps as far as creating a character for me as an actor is getting the wardrobe right.
I kept him mostly in leather, and then I made him a long cape with a hood, which gives him almost a monk-like look.
I can remember when she brought just a sampling of some of my clothes and how excited I was. I think you could be doing some fancier camera work. Come on, come on. Hand,
What is
some
it,
little
good?
hand action, close up on their hands.
He's kind of a walking arsenal, so I really draped him in belts and things that he could hang things off of for his arsenal. So his wardrobe is so perfect for fighting evil.
Leave this innocent child.
We kind of wanted to keep the magic grounded since we are in such a fantastical world. The typical things that Master Gregory uses to kill witches are silverbane and iron and fire.
The Rowan staff is something that we really wanted to get right because it was going to be in so many shots in the film.
Jeff, he does all the fighting, or a lot of his fighting. I show him every move. So you see how they kind of, it just gets a little bit tricky, yeah, and it comes back into this.
It's a bit like working on a dance routine, and I love to dance. Switch the hand.
He's able to pick it up the day we shoot and is able to perform it. I mean, watch the movie. What you see is what he learned that day.
Action.
The staff is with Jeff all the time. He wants to touch it and hold it all the time, too. It's part of his character.
I will burn you both!
That's the symbol of the Falcon Knights right here. This is also what creates the brand on Tom's hand at the very end of the movie.
What I've always loved about Tom's character is that he has to grow into a man, and we get to watch that throughout the course of the movie.
I like the fact that he's not a sort of all-out conquering hero from the beginning. I mean, he's got a weakness to him.
Wear it. He's almost, dare I say, the sort of runt of the litter. And so she gives Tom the Umbran Stone as a form of protection.
Well, this is the Umbran Stone. It's a red, fiery stone because we thought it was beautiful, and that's sort of what Sergei wanted. And it has runic sort of symbology that offers protection is the language that's on there.
The Umbran Stone is particularly powerful, and it is also a weapon.
I was really impressed with how he threw himself into all the physicality of the role. Well, he has got all kinds of sword fights and physical feats that he has to perform.
You know, we've both been working with, you know, physical trainers and stunt trainers, and Paul Jennings is our amazing stunt coordinator, making all these fights really different, hopefully, to any ones you've seen before. It's really sort of interesting weapons, but then, of course, you have to learn how to use them.
Yeah, that could work.
So we're a bit battered and bruised, but it's been pretty fun.
What I love about this story is this idea that witches weren't always bad. And while many of the witches are cruel and many of them are evil, there have always been good-natured witches.
Ma'am has sort of been undercover and was able to live her normal life, marry a normal man, have these children, sort of give up her witch lifestyle.
Action! This is the scene, the reason I took the job, basically, where Ma'am the pig farmer becomes Ma'am the witch. I'm going back!
No!
Keep her safe! And the thing that really makes her get her secret powers out there is that Strix threatens to kill one of her children.
When he starts moving away, he just comes up like this, goes around like that.
Our brilliant special effects man was telling me what my hand gestures were going to be turned into and how I'd be manipulating my weapon.
Comes up to your hand, now you can turn it. That's good.
And then, so back from about here. I've never worked like this before, and it's been truly extraordinary.
Turn it around. I think that works great.
Okay.
When we pick up the story, Alice is sort of a witch by blood, but isn't an evil witch. She's a half-witch.
Human father.
She has a very mysterious, exotic vibe to her, and she plays this very strong character.
I learned how to fight with fighting sticks, with swords. It was very intense because I could learn all of the stunts, but then I had to get my laced-up leather pants and my wooden corset on, and suddenly it became something completely different.
Alice's costume has to tell the story that she has a foot in both worlds.
I like your shoes.
When she's with Tom, I try to keep her more romantic. But when she comes to Pendle City, her wardrobe's darker, more witch-like. She's a warrior.
When I saw this wooden corset, the first thing I said was, "Is that mine?" Apparently, it belonged to a dominatrix in Germany, so they hadn't buy it. And I'm glad, because it's so great. It's fantastic. There's such a femininity to all of the outfits, but it's still so strong, and it just helps me feel at home being a witch.
You set it up, and I'll translate for you. Okay.
I'm going to run up to the cliff edge.
He's going to run up to the cliff edge.
We turn around to confront our enemies.
We turn around to confront our enemies.
Gregory drops down.
Gregory drops down. Yes.
Ready, and action.
Tusk is just this big, gentle-hearted killing machine.
So he just smashes people around and dumps them on the floor, and he lifts them up and he breaks their backs and he punches them in the face.
First, we needed to find a big guy to play the physicality of Tusk, which we did in John DeSantis. And then we need to create his face so that it was able to move and actually could sell some of the emotion.
It's an animatronic mask, essentially, that blends off to his eyes. For the ease of putting it on, we didn't want a 4 or 5 hour makeup. And it being as big as it is, that far away from the face, it couldn't be a makeup, really.
It's like a whole head, which they just attached, and it looks pretty amazing, and it takes them 20 minutes to do it.
I myself am not able to directly control my facial expressions.
It's two guys in the corner with joysticks, which is kind of humorous.
Jason's got 1 point of motion in the center of the brows that can make the brows go up and down. And then also on the same controller is the nose.
Happy Tusk. This is good. Inquisitive Tusk. Battle fierce, ripping your head off Tusk.
I've had a great experience on this one. Had a lot of fun making it.
What does that kill?
Cowardice. And we hit the mark with all of the different elements, the costumes, props, stunts. And all of this adds up to make his characters so realistic in this kind of fantastic world.
With the blood moon's rise and Malcolm's arrival, the creatures of the dark will be more frequent and more powerful. These are her lieutenants.
We did an enormous amount of research on what was scary to people in different cultures, whether it's Russian fables or Indian witches. It's just scary and interesting and cool.
We were all extremely excited to make the dark creatures unlike anything we've seen in any other movie.
We have most powerful witches from around the world. An African witch, Siberian witch, Amazonian witch. It's something very special.
witches. Malkin is the strongest. She is the queen.
I'd never played a wicked witch before, and I thought it would be a really fun thing to do.
Mother Malkin is the fashion icon of the Middle Ages. Her wardrobe is kind of bird-like, so I used a lot of couture feathers.
These feathers were dyed specifically for this particular costume and then applied by hand, one at a time.
They're really hard costumes because all the women are so tightly corseted, and it's a physical movie. So just in terms of moving around, that's been challenging. But the look is really gorgeous.
Look at me. I also used a lot of bone kind of motifs, like her spine.
My character has a tail, and I wield it and knock people down and grab people with it.
It was like a teenage dream, being stuck in a cage with Julianne Moore, with claws at your face and the tail around an ear.
You're with me now. Of course, there's no evidence of my tail on the set. It's all CG. They'll say to me, you're going to wipe out these guys with your tail, and so I need a physical gesture to initiate that.
So I get the cue, I do this, the guys fall. Action!
She's a pretty powerful witch and really terribly wicked.
We must call the others. Pendle Mountain welcomes you, brothers and sisters. Your queen has returned.
Boney Lizzie is sort of the caretaker of Pendle Mountain. She's named Boney Lizzie because she does bone magic.
We meet her as this kind of starved and desiccated creature. It was an amazing moment to actually see how the makeup make her look almost like a stone.
We've done multiple foam latex appliances. There's cheeks, the brow, chin, nose. That's one thing I'm most satisfied with in this look, is that it's got a lot of really strong focal points for your eye to enjoy.
Then when Mother Malkin returns, and through her touch, my character evolves to that very soft and feminine woman. She becomes the most devout witch for Mother Malkin and also the second in command. I had quite a lot of stunts to do.
3, 2, 1, action.
We made a decision to give her 2 swords to fight with. And I love it because it makes her so much more powerful.
This particular sword is Boney Lizzie. There's one for each hand, left and right.
To fight with both swords, it was fun. It was something new. I've never done it before.
This is Radu. He has an army of assassins.
Radu is a Transylvanian witch who becomes a dragon.
We see you, you're going up, horses up, great shots, and I think it's a dragon.
Radu is a very, very powerful ancient warlock.
The 12 assassins represent all the assassins who at one point in time have taken a shot at killing me. So Radu, after winning the battle over all these men, he enslaved them as his bodyguards.
My finest assassins. I was really excited to get to work with Jaimin Hansu on this fight scene.
Radu has these axe heads attached to these bone chains that come out of his sleeve.
The axe, the chain that's attached to it, is computer generated in some cases.
Ready, and action. Bang!
And in some cases, it's practical. And when he becomes a dragon, he also has an organic tentacle that he can use like a whip. So it links together the 2 characters in a really interesting way.
Malkin's most bloodthirsty lieutenant. He's killed more of my kind than all of the rest put together.
Urag is the Siberian witch.
Jason Scott Lee, he was wonderful to work with. That was a good scene in the film. Tommy DuPont, he's my stunt double. He did some wonderful stunts.
The fight choreography is fantastic. It's pretty elaborate, pretty detailed.
We must kill him for good.
And that's the cut.
Saracen, takes the form of a leopard.
Saracen is the African witch.
Her wardrobe's based on large cats. I used bones. Her headpiece is a raw diamond, which symbolizes the diamond mines of Africa.
Very important part of being a leopard, having a white hand. It is.
She uses these serrated weapons. She used 2 of them. She used them reverse grip and foregrip to slice, to thrust and kill.
Virahadra is the king of swords.
I play Virahadra, and as you can see, I only actually have 2 arms in real life. A lot of the Indian gods are depicted to have blue-toned skin, and I think that Sergei wanted that idea of, like, if you were to see a god of war in real life, what would it look like?
We chase Zaf around all day with blue, of course. It's extremely hard to maintain because the wardrobe chafes everything off every second.
Put it in, pull it out.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
The stunt guys have put together some really terrific choreography. What they did is they fought one fight using the arms as his upper arms and another version of the fight using his arms as the lower arms, and then combine those 2 together. And then, of course, all the people with whom that character is fighting have to mime their reactions to the attack of additional arms.
Strix, my brave warlock.
I'm playing the Amazonian warlock in Mother Malkin's Coven. These are fake ears, gauged out, and I think it's the best part of the makeup.
We started out with this Amazonian scarification tattoo look, and then we brought that over into the fantasy land that we're creating.
He's a very animalistic character. He has the power to leap far distances. He's very quick. I use a sort of Amazonian spear and these nice little blades you see on my back I can take out and use as weapons as well.
This scene right now, we have Strix, the actor, flying in on a wire. He jumps down and he starts attacking villagers.
That was great. It's the first time I've done any wire work. Yeah. It's a little uncomfortable, but it's lots of fun.
It really was a challenge to make these witches look really scary and really cool and not look like the classic witches that we're all used to. So the definition of a witch was completely thrown out the window.
And that's the fun part, to be part of pictures of this nature where you can really escape yourself, escape reality, and tap into the scary part of your imagination.
When you're making a movie, it's kind of like you're pulling off a magic trick. And it's a magic trick that's never been done before. I guess the only thing you can kind of bet on are the magicians that you've assembled. In this movie, we've assembled some wonderful, wonderful magicians, you know.
The great thing about our production designer, Dante, is that the design is unique and interesting.
What I loved about Dante's amazing sets is that they just gives it an epic feeling of enormous scope.
He surprised, of course, everybody because he started to build bigger.
When the set is big, you believe better.
The walled city was a really important set for the storytelling because it was the first time that we saw scope and people and populace. And when you talk about saving mankind through the course of the movie, you need to see mankind, and this was our moment to see it.
When I first read the script, the walled city, which is what you see here, was described as a small town, like a village, really. But this was our first introduction to Dante Ferretti and his design philosophy. So he imagines a whole city, kind of a Byzantine mashup between African and European. So it's creating the setting of the movie and the world that our characters inhabit.
If she's a witch,
and I'll deal with it.
It was so grand, so epic, and it was so big that I couldn't really believe that they were able to build this.
I can take her away and dispose of her.
The amount of extras blew my mind. And the colors and the dye baths and the detail and the finishing on the bricks, and just incredible.
We have 2 40-foot marine containers full of props. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of items.
We have scenes where there's 50 soldiers and 12 mounted knights, plus our heroes. Then also we have background performers, so we built all of the background props, the bags, and items like this. We're all constructed in our shop, so we're appropriating items and then modifying them to make them have a period look, hand stitching and roping.
It was just fun walking around there. Wherever you look, the details are so, specific to the period. Sergei, our director, could, shoot anywhere. It was like being in a real town.
What is this place?
Home sweet home.
Inside, where Master Gregory lives, there is a secret lab underneath, a very big and very unique.
Gregory's laboratory. This is one of our larger interior sets. He's a man of science. He's a sort of an alchemist. He's able to use magical potions against the witches, but he's also an engineer and a smith, so he makes his own weapons. I think that describes best kind of who he is in this environment that we've built for him.
This is Master Gregory's flask. I'm not sure what's inside, but I imagine it's some kind of alcoholic beverage that he drinks from time to time.
That is disgusting. What does that kill?
Cowardice.
As well, we have drawn and designed tapestries and maps. And behind us is a kind of a mining shaft where he might have mined maybe the rock for the forging of the swords.
The rowing staff. Master it, and you can master any weapon. Show me what you are!
First day that we shot in the Spook's Lair, I basically spent the entire day playing with all the different swords and maces and staffs and anything I could find. Essentially, I was wielding it and throwing it and getting in a lot of trouble with all the ADs.
Gregory, tonight, his reign of terror ends.
Pendle Mount, it's where Mother Malkin live. And we build everything on a stage, a very big stage. Actually, it's a big warehouse. And we built an entire piece of a city that was destroyed.
Pendle was always going to be an important set. It's kind of like the bad guy headquarters.
My queen! A gift to commemorate your return.
Just the size, the scale. It's very unusual these days to work on sets that have been so completely built. He kind of created entire cities, these great, big, huge environments. And, they're incredibly elaborate and very, very detailed.
My daughter has spotted them. They're moving closer.
You may do as you wish with the boy, my darling. But I want Gregory alive.
The throne room there where Mother Malkin's boudoir was terrific. It was like covered in mirrors and this sort of Moroccan influence of an interior that we just played with endlessly and got the opportunity to actually see it go from a ruin to a new and shining environment in one shot. So that was a beautiful shot.
These days, if you're doing a movie of this type, you're often acting in front of a blue screen or a green screen, especially if you're making a movie about another time. But for an actor, it's a lot more fun and helps me tremendously to be in a real place.